It was 11:45 on a Thursday night, May 1st, 2008, when Pam Sleeper received a phone call from her brother-in-law, Hal.
I answered the phone and he sounded really distraught, and I asked him if everything was okay, and he said, "No, Pammy, Kay's dead."
A death that Pam soon learned was not an accident, but a murder that sounded like something made of fiction, complete with a cut-and-paste confessional letter.
I didn't learn until the next day when we arrived in Atlanta that it was a homicide. Somebody murdered Kay. For some reason, I just thought it was an accident that she had maybe in her house or something, but that was when I learned it was a homicide.
Kay Wenal had not only been killed, but attacked in her own home in what police say could have been a crime of passion.
She was brutally murdered. Evidently, what the guy did was he walked in Kay answered the door, and he walked into the house and hit her in the face. And there were some cuts and definitely big bruises on her face. And then it looked like she ran into the kitchen to grab the phone, and then he slit her throat. After he murdered Kay, apparently he went upstairs, and they had a workout room up there, and they had a basket of towels, you know, to use to dry off with your sweat. And he went in that room, got a towel, wiped his hands, went into Kay's bedroom, in through her bathroom where her closet was, opened up the door and threw the bloody towel in there on the floor, and then apparently left after that. There were no footprints, no fingerprints, and the blood was from the kitchen door all the way across the kitchen. They had to have all the wood removed out of there, but it was a big long kitchen, and so it was pretty gory.
Who ended up finding Kay?
Hal did. He had been trying to call her all afternoon, and she had 2 cell phones. She wasn't answering either cell phone. She wasn't answering the house phone. And when he drove up in the driveway that night, they had a vehicle that was parked outside, and Kay parked her car usually inside the garage, but he saw both vehicles were there, and that's when he thought something must be wrong. And as soon as he opened up the garage door going into the kitchen, she was laying face down.
It was a brutal, bloody ending to a beautiful life of a beautiful person.
How was Kay as a person?
She was great. She was the most lovable, fun. I tell you, energized. She had a ton of energy, and she was little. She was a little thing, little petite thing, and she was just a lot of fun. You know, like I said, she'd light up every room she ever walked into.
It wasn't until this letter became public that sparked an interest in the case again. Police originally received this letter from the killer 2 months after Kay's death, but only told Pam and her husband, and they told them not to say a word.
And Earl and I happened to be in Atlanta helping Hal with things for Kay at that time, and the police department wanted to have a meeting with us, and we went to Hal's office and we met. And at that time is when the police department pulled out that letter. And that was a shock. But I realized from the first time I read that letter that I really think the man that murdered Kay is the one that wrote that letter. There's things in there that he wouldn't know otherwise.
A letter that sounded like it was from the killer and a heartbroken, rejected lover. He mentioned things about his love for Kay, about her family, and his threat to her if she didn't keep her promises to him.
Kay never said a word to me. We spoke on the phone 2 to 3 times a week. We were together, you know, 2 or 3, maybe sometimes 4 times a year, and didn't utter a word about anybody. I don't know if it's somebody, because Kay was friendly, you know, if somebody mistook her for maybe wanting to have an affair with him or something, I don't know. And then when she rejected him, you know, the letter says, "I told you this would happen."
Yeah.
And it has a part about our white, trashy family, you know, if it wasn't for us that they could be together. So I'm wondering if he doesn't happen to know us, my family.
Shortly after the murder, Kay's husband, Kay Wenal, a successful businessman, offered a $250,000 reward, but still no one came forward with any details. To this day, police have this sketch to work from. After the murder, neighbors said they saw a man walking around the neighborhood resembling this police sketch. Kay passed away in 2010 of a massive heart attack. When family members were going through some of his old pictures, they saw a man in one of the photos that resembled the sketch. Police have not located the man and they do not know his identity. Pam says that the picture is from when the Wenals spent a lot of time in Las Vegas and California.
There's somebody that knows something, and I'm just begging them to come out and let us know so we can, you know, it doesn't really give you closure, but it'll help.
Skyler Nichols, KIDY, Fox, San Angelo News.